Did the Maya actually disappear? The Maya were one of the most advanced ancient civilizations in the world, yet somehow they disappeared. Their great cities were abandoned, their monuments toppled, and their entire culture seemingly erased from the face of the earth. So where did they go? Were they all wiped out by a sudden natural disaster, or perhaps an invading army? Or did they simply fade away into the modern world? In this episode of Ancient Worlds Revealed, we are going deep into the Yucatan Peninsula to uncover the shocking truth behind the disappearance of the Maya. It's hard to imagine a world without sugar. From the sweets you eat to the drinks you drink, this one plant has sweetened life for billions of people around the globe. But how did it get there? Well, that's thanks to the Maya, who were among the first to cultivate sugarcane in the New World. They also excelled at mathematics, developed a sophisticated writing system, and created magnificent works of art. In fact, the Maya were so advanced that they even had a concept of 0 centuries before the rest of the world. But despite their many accomplishments, the Maya mysteriously vanished from the historical record around the year 1600. Their great cities were abandoned, and their monumental pyramids were left to crumble into the jungle. But here's the thing, did they really disappear, or is there more to the story? To answer this question, we've got to do some serious adventuring. But don't worry, you don't have to lift a finger. Just hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an exciting new episode. Now let's get to adventuring. When most people think of the Maya, they picture vast cities filled with towering temples and bustling marketplaces. But the reality was much more complex than that. In fact, the Maya weren't even a single civilization. They were a collection of independent city-states that shared a common language, religion, and cultural traits. These city-states were often fiercely independent and frequently went to war with each other. In fact, warfare was so widespread that the Maya kept lists of captured prisoners, just like the ancient Romans. One of the largest and most powerful city-states was Tikal, whose rulers claimed to be descended from the gods. At its peak in the 6th century, Tikal controlled a vast domain that stretched from the modern-day Mexican border down through El Salvador and Honduras. But Tikal wasn't the only major player in the Maya world. There were dozens of other city-states, including Palenque, Calakmul, Uxmal, and countless others. Each one was ruled by a powerful king and had its own unique character and history. Despite their fierce independence, the Maya city-states did cooperate at times. For example, they often formed alliances against common enemies and would occasionally hold joint festivals and ceremonies. But ultimately, each city-state was out for its own interests and would often compete with each other for resources, power, and prestige. This constant competition helped drive the Maya to greater and greater heights, but it also sowed the seeds of their eventual downfall. Unfortunately, our understanding of the classic Maya civilization is incomplete, because much of their history was lost when their cities were abandoned. What we know comes primarily from archaeological evidence and the few surviving historical accounts from other cultures. One of the most important sources is the Popol Vuh, a sacred text written by the Kizh Maya people in the 16th century. But since it was written after the collapse of the classic Maya, it doesn't shed much light on what happened during the height of their civilization. Another valuable resource is the long count calendar, a sophisticated system of recording time used by the Maya. Unfortunately, many of the stelae and other artifacts that bear the long count dates have been looted or destroyed. Still, scholars have been able to piece together a rough chronology of the Maya civilization. The Maya civilization is generally divided into 3 periods: pre-classic, classic, and post-classic. The pre-classic period lasted from around 2000 BCE to 250 CE and saw the emergence of the Maya people in the Yucatan Peninsula. During this time, small settlements gradually grew into larger cities and trade networks began to develop throughout the region. The classic period lasted from around 250 CE to 900 CE and marked the height of Maya civilization. Great cities flourished, and the Maya reached the peak of their artistic and intellectual achievements. But this period also saw increasing warfare and instability among the city-states. The post-classic period lasted from around 900 CE to 1697 CE and began with the decline of the classic Maya. During this time, new cities arose and the Maya continued to thrive, but in a more decentralized form. As you can see, there's a lot of mystery surrounding the Maya civilization and much of their history remains unknown. So what exactly happened to them? Let's take a closer look. So why did the Maya suddenly disappear? Well, there are 4 possible explanations. First, the Maya could have been completely wiped out by a sudden disaster, such as a hurricane or volcanic eruption. Second, they could have been conquered by an outside force, such as the Aztec Empire. Third, they could have suffered a gradual decline due to factors such as overpopulation, famine, or disease. Or fourth, they could have simply integrated into the surrounding cultures and adopted new ways of life. In recent years, scientists have explored a number of theories to explain the collapse of the classic Maya civilization. One popular theory is that deforestation and soil depletion caused by intensive agriculture led to widespread famine and eventually the abandonment of the Maya cities. Another theory is that a prolonged drought combined with overpopulation put a strain on the Maya's water resources, leading to conflict and instability. A third theory is that the Maya cities were gradually conquered by outside forces, such as the Itza Maya from the north or the Aztec Empire from the south. However, there's little evidence to support any of these theories. And ultimately, the collapse of the classic Maya remains a mystery. There is some evidence that the Maya did suffer a population decline during the 9th century, but it's unclear whether this was caused by warfare, famine, disease, or a combination of factors. Similarly, there are signs that the climate became drier and more unstable during this period, but it's not clear whether this had a major impact on the Maya civilization. The truth is, the collapse of the classic Maya was likely a complex process that resulted from a combination of internal and external factors. Warfare between city-states, political instability, and changing trade networks may have weakened the Maya and made them more vulnerable to outside forces. Whatever the cause, the classic Maya civilization was effectively over by the year 900. Their once great cities were abandoned, and their monumental pyramids were left to crumble into the jungle. But here's the thing. Did they really disappear? Contrary to popular belief, the Maya didn't disappear after 900 AD. In fact, millions of Maya descendants live in Central America today. Their culture and traditions survived the collapse of the classic Maya, and they continue to thrive despite centuries of oppression and persecution. So what happened to the Maya after 900 AD? Well, that's where things get interesting. After the decline of the classic Maya, new city-states emerged in the Yucatan Peninsula. One of the most powerful was the Kingdom of Quincapayún, which lasted from around 980 to 1250. The capital city of Uxmal was renowned for its magnificent architecture, including the famous Pyramid of the Magician. Another important center was Meopan, which served as the capital of the Meopan League in the 13th century. The Maya continued to thrive during this period, developing new artistic styles and engaging in extensive trade networks. In the 16th century, the Spanish began their conquest of Central America, and the Maya fiercely resisted. But despite their bravery, the Maya were eventually defeated, and their kingdoms were incorporated into the Spanish Empire. Over the next 3 centuries, the Maya suffered greatly under Spanish rule, enduring forced labor, slavery, and the suppression of their religion and culture. Teosol was the last Mayan kingdom to yield to the Spanish conquerors. Its archaeological remains date from the Middle Preclassic period, 800 to 250 BC, to the Late Preclassic period, 1250 to 1697 AD. Teosol, also known as Horno Greater, the capital of the Itza, later became the city of Flores, capital of the Piton department in northern Guatemala. It is primarily a tourist city and an important base for visitors to the area's archaeological sites. It has an international airport called Mundo Maya International Airport in Santa Elena. In the 19th century, however, the Maya began to fight back. They rebelled against the Spanish several times, but their efforts were ultimately unsuccessful. Finally, in 1821, the Spanish Empire collapsed and Central America gained its independence. The Maya were free from colonial rule, but their struggles were far from over. In the 20th century, the Maya faced new challenges, including poverty, discrimination, and the loss of their ancestral lands. But they continued to persevere, and their culture and traditions survived to the present day. Today, the Maya are among the largest ethnic groups in Central America, with millions living in Guatemala, Mexico, and Belize. They speak a variety of languages, including Yucatec, Kich, and Kekche, and they continue to practice traditional religions and customs. The Maya have also achieved significant success in recent decades. They've gained greater access to education and healthcare, and their artwork and textiles are internationally renowned. Despite the challenges they continue to face, the Maya remain an integral part of Central American culture, and their future looks bright. So the Maya didn't disappear after 900 AD. They simply evolved and adapted to the changing world around them. Was the Maya Empire cursed? A recently discovered artifact may hold the key. Classic Maya glyphs depict a series of devastating events, including hurricanes, floods, and droughts. Could these warnings have come true? Join us as we uncover the shocking truth behind the Maya's greatest fears. What do you think happened to the Maya? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more adventures in ancient worlds. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.